Hey tubers, it's Potboys live from the internets. So today we're just going over... Actually, I'm just on Twitter, and this kind of started the conversation. For the past week or a couple of weeks, I've been going on about how the media is basically trying to start a race war, an orchestrated race war, because it's not real. The people don't have any problems with each other, but the media is trying to constantly point out to you that there's just people are attacking each other, and all this shit's going on all the time. I'm so happy that I found a couple of people, and I'm starting to see more and more of it. People who are seeing through the illusion, or the disillusion rather. So the first person was Red Pill Black. This young lady is extremely smart. I actually watched her on a Alex Jones video where she began speaking about, Black Lives Matter and their agenda, and as well as just pointing out that look, she's noticing everything that I am, that it's all fake. The media is trying to create this divide, and that's exactly what it is it's a divide and conquer technique used by the rulers to control the people, because if you can divide the people, that's how you keep them in control. If people unite together, they can outrule anybody, right? So including take down the rulers, who, again, you're seeing this constant mention of the divide between the 1% and the 99%. So this is what we're coming down to, and I think this is why they're trying to start a civil war, and why they're trying to, create this fake race division. It's even happening in Canada. Recently, they just had it was like a racism thing at City Hall, where it was fight racism or stop racism. And the majority of us in Canada are looking at it like, are you people for real? Like, are you actually for real? This is Canada, a united country for 150 plus years, and you're trying to tell us that, stop the racism. It's complete nonsense. Now, I'm not going to say that there's not people out there that are assholes, because that's what it is, and that's what I've tried to explain to some people recently, is that, look, in order to be racist, you have to be making slurs or comments about someone who's a different race than you. So you can be racist against a cow, which everybody is, right? Because you slaughter them and you eat them. So that's the real racism, is how you treat animals. Perhaps in the future how you treat aliens. Racism between humans is not racism. It's just people being assholes. And there are many. Don't get me wrong, right? I'm not defending any bigots, and I'm not defending any, haters. I understand this thing going on as well about hate speech. People don't realize how fundamental this is. Now, I don't support hate speech in any way, but I do support free speech. And if people want to understand, taking away hate speech takes away free speech, and I don't think they understand the fundamental repercussions of that intent. You're literally, you're taking away people's power when you do that. In order to continue reaching forward to a civilized world, which it is not right now. This is not a civilized world. You can't say that until you've eliminated poverty and war and hunger and, suffering. I mean, it still goes on and on and on, and a part of me wonders if it always will. So again, going back to this wonderful person that I found, this Red Pill Black on YouTube, go and subscribe to her channel. You certainly don't need my recommendations. Just in the past day, she has literally doubled her subscribers. This girl is going viral. Her opinion on the Black Lives Matter and the fake racial divide that's happening on the social media and being portrayed, exaggerated as big as it can be. Don't play into it. humans have been living together for a very long time. There is no divide. This is what they're trying to do, and I think what's happening, I think the real reason why they're trying to create a divide and a civil war is because they know that people are becoming aware, and every time that this happens, and this is the missing parts of history that I was also discussing with another young person, which I think you should also subscribe to. His channel is called Descent Report. So this young man, he published a video which I tweeted out. If you're looking to see his video, just go onto my Twitter and you can search it out there. But it was basically, this young man who was very far left, which again, I don't necessarily go with the right and left thing. I just don't subscribe to that. But at the same time, like, the people that claim to be left, they're the ones that are perpetrating all of this divide and conquer. They're the ones that are trying to, like right now, they're attacking Donald Trump and Melania Trump. And it's just the most ridiculous, petty stuff. Like, go for something real, right? And that's the thing. When you see Alex Jones reporters going to these people, and go and watch the videos, they have nothing concrete to go on. They're asking them, why are you trying to have the president impeached? And nobody has an answer. They actually have no answer. And then when the reporter calls them out on it and basically says, like, so you guys you're just here because you don't like Donald Trump. They're blowing whistles in his camera. They're trying to cover up the thing. It's so easy to see through. So this young man, again, his channel's Descent Report. He basically tells the story. It's the same kind of thing as Red Pill Black, where he says he took the red pill. So this is another recurring theme that the new generation is playing, like, have you taken the red pill yet? This is when you start to see the world for what it truly is, and you start to see through the media reports, you start to see the objective, you start to see the narrative, and once you take it, there's no going back. Okay, so this video, he called it Leaving the Left, My Red Pill Story. You guys should go and actually listen to what he's saying. Very smart young man. I was quite impressed, and I messaged him and told him that I was certainly never left, but his journey, it just resonated so close to my own, and it's like an awakening. It's you suddenly become self-aware, and you start to see the actions of other people and just how nuts they are. So the reason for this video, actually, I wanted to recommend you guys subscribe to those channels, but the big thing was this Holly O'Reilly. So I see this tweet, and this is when I had been watching Red Pill Black, and I was really impressed, and then everything that she said in it was it's just so matched exactly everything that I'm feeling. Then I see this tweet come out from this Holly O'Reilly, which I didn't even know who she was, okay? Apparently she's the organizer for the March for Truth, so that should just tell you something right there. And I happened to see something, she mentioned she has 5 kids. So the reason why I was wanting to focus on this tweet, and I just put it up on the screen here, she says for 8 years, and she's retweeted herself. So, here you go. This woman has retweeted herself. The original tweet says, and here we have Melania Trump modeling what not to wear to a hurricane, 5-inch stilettos. How out of touch can you be? So, completely ignoring the fact that Donald and Melania have come down and are actually trying to help the people. This woman is making fun of what she's wearing. So that should kind of tell you, a little bit about the mindset of the person that you're dealing with. And Holly O'Reilly, that's the thing, I'm not trying to judge you, but I am judging this tweet, okay? Because it says, she's retweeted herself, for 8 years, we listened to you fuckers call Michelle Obama everything from a man to a monkey, but God forbid we pick on Melania's shoes. So, Holly, who has 5 children, I would like to ask you, so what are you trying to teach your children here? What do you think they're going to pick up from this? So you think then that sinking to their level is the right thing to do? This is exactly kind of what everybody on this red pill is basically starting to realize. These people are just nasty. I mean, honestly, when you see people helping other people and then you're gonna call them out on what they're wearing, come on. This is a complete fraud. And like I said, cause I didn't even know who she was, but she's verified, so I go and look her up, and it's March for Truth organizer. So I'm not sure if any of you knew about the March for Truth, but the March for Truth came out because the science illusion was starting to break down. People were starting to see, because of the truth is that many of the categories of science are theory-based. There is no fact behind them, and they needed to promote truth, right? Like that science is the truth. And I'm not saying it isn't in many different things, but when you talk about science, chemistry has fact, engineering, technology, there's fact. But when it comes to, like, for instance, the astronomy portion of it, or the earth science, a majority of it is theory based. There is no actual facts to back up a lot of what they're talking about. They've just kind of made things fit to go with what they need to in order to make everything fit. Because wouldn't it be wonderful if we just knew everything about our environment and the place that we live and the space that surrounds it? But unfortunately, humans don't. That's why in the very beginning I said I don't believe in experts. There are no experts. You're always going to find somebody who knows more than the expert that you're dealing with. So I believe in specialists. I think you can have a specialist in earth science. You can have these people who have studied. But real people are not afraid to admit that they're learning forever. You're not just going to all of a sudden just, know everything and there's no more learning. Okay, you have to learn forever, and you're going to keep learning. And death is also a part of it. I believe death is a human construct. This is something that humans have created to explain what happens, and I'm not sure whether that's to make ourselves feel better or whatever, but my theory is this: there is no death. You're just going to change. You're going to change into a different being once you learn what you needed to learn in this lifetime. So again, it's a theory, because 90% of everything is theory. I can't express it enough. So anyways, I'm not sure if this video is really going where I want it to, but I just want people to know that you're not alone out there when you're seeing people attacking people, or this behavior that you just can't understand. It can make you start to feel alien, and this is where YouTube channels come from. When people start to feel separated, they start to feel like they don't fit in anymore. And once you start looking into that, right, you're like, well, why don't my opinions match those of the people I know, or the people on the Twitter, or you know what I mean? Like, what is happening to me? You basically have to, you start researching, right? You're like, well, what makes me different then? What makes me think so differently? And then you start, you can go over the different wild theories of your purpose in the world and your existence. But it really comes down to know thyself, and when you start doing that research, you really start to see that the world is actually quite ill, and that it's kept so busy, right? Because they keep you busy, right? So you're, right from the time you're just a little kid, they throw you into full-time school because they need to keep your mind occupied. We don't want any imagination process going on here, because you might figure out that things aren't the way they are. And a perfect example of that is when you're reading children's stories when they're little, and we have these fairy tales and these nursery rhymes and Disney and all of these things for kids. And one of the first questions that will be asked by children once they're able to kind of comprehend everything, they'll ask you, why are there royal families? That is one of the very first questions, like, of substance. It's just like, why is the sky blue? So people need to start looking into this and realize that it's 2017. There's a divide that's literally a half a world divide, like half of the known world, okay? It goes to 1%. And the other half has to share. Like, the 99% has to share the other half. So that's what I'm saying. People, wake up. Start paying attention to these people, and especially these younger people who can see through it, because these are the leaders of the future. I can just tell you, on other worlds, in order for a family to claim that they're royal, they will have had to have eliminated poverty, war, hunger, and disease from the continent or area or country that they reign over, because that's what the royals are. If you really look into it, they own everything, even the land that you own. If you own a home, go and look into it. They actually own it. You're kind of subletting. So, and they can claim it back at any time they want. That's the other thing. So, start to wake up and start to perhaps form societies or organizations in which you can start to make a change. And I'm not just talking a small change. We need to really sit down and reorganize the whole world, because it's gone on long enough. And this is what's very scary about the whole thing. You'll notice that there's gaps in the history. And the reason that there's gaps in the history, in my theory, is that whenever the people become aware of this illusion that you live in, where you can, and don't get me wrong, you can absolutely be successful. You can go out, you can be an inventor, you can be a business owner, you can make yourself $100,000 selling whatever. You're capped. There's only so far you can go. If you create a company, for instance, like McDonald's or something, massive like Walmart, you're going to be taken over. And they will absolutely buy you out, and they can do it. Trust me. You can say, oh, well, I'll never sell. But they can make your life, they can control your life so much that you'll have no choice. So, and I'm not going to go into any further than that. Like I said, this video is more to promote these smart young people, but again, when I looked at this Holly O'Reilly person, who is verified on Twitter, who again, this is what I'm seeing, all of the negative is being promoted on Twitter, and anything positive or fighting this negativity, or saying that, no, we're not against each other, there is no racial war, there is no need for a civil war, putting the liberals against conservatives, it just fucking goes on forever. Witches against, Masons. I mean, it's one thing after another. This is all it is. It's a divide, people. So the quicker you see through that, the quicker that you're going to be able to change your world for the better, and hopefully change some other people's lives as well. I've mentioned in a previous video, the best thing you can do is to try to get yourself off the grid. Buy solar panels, get batteries, get yourself self-sustainability, get yourself self-reliance, become independent, because there's going to be a time, and it might be for a short time, so don't panic, but there's going to be a time where once it switches, there's going to be a time where you're going to need to fend for yourself, and the government's certainly not going to be worried about you. Another thing that I've noticed on Twitter today is they seem to be promoting, particularly in British Columbia, these emergency packs. All of these Twitter accounts are trying to promote these emergency rations and emergency first aid kits and different things. So I do believe that they're actually preparing for something. If you've seen what's going on in the media between the United States and North Korea, there's obviously an agenda there. They're definitely trying to, I think they're trying to get ready for war, because if the people are seeing through the illusion and they're planning, this is what I think happens every time, and this is where the reset happens. When the people finally wake up and realize that they're being controlled and manipulated, and there's abundance everywhere, but they're being restricted from it. They've been cordoned off, and you can only have this, right? There's a rise up, so the people will rise, and they will literally try to take down that oppressive force that is controlling everything. And so what do? That's what I mean, nobody knows, because history has these gaps where you don't know exactly what happened when they switched from one empire to the next. And I believe that this is what's happening right now, is once it's full on, they've got to start a war. So that's what I mean, it's orchestrated. all of the previous wars have been orchestrated and created for everything, to control the people, to divide the people, to control population, to help control supply, and to help further instill fear on people, because war is obviously your biggest fear, right? We don't want to, and that's the thing, human beings don't want to attack each other. So why are you listening to your leaders telling that you have to attack each other? This is why I always knew that I was only half human, because things just don't make sense here. Like, if this whole thingy with Russia, right, it's been going on for years. They've been trying to start this bullshit with Russia, and it's like, I could see through it instantly, and I'm like, do you guys not kind of see what they're trying to do here? So now it's switched to North Korea, because again, the people became aware of that, and they were like, no, they're not doing anything. They have nothing to do with any problems over here or our elections. So now it's switched to North Korea, because if this continues, they've got to go to war, right? You've got to say we're going to war, because then it immediately removes the focus on what reality is going on. Now we've got to focus on this fake war, and everybody's got to go broke and lose people, lose loved ones, and because there's just no other choice, right? And like I said, I fully support soldiers and military, but I do not support war. I never will. And you would have to be, think about it. In order for you to physically attack somebody that is in your area, say you're going to get into a fight with somebody, there has to be a legitimate reason, right? Particularly if you are rational, right? You're not just going to punch somebody out because they call you a name, right? They're going to have to threaten some sort of harm to your family, or they're going to be actually physically threatening you, or like hitting you or whatever, before you're going to actually do that, right? And I believe that everybody is the same that way. So they can't say that anybody would rationally choose to go to war. So again, if the leaders that are being chosen, and this is the other thing that I don't really understand, people need to lead themselves. As soon as they hand over control and you lead me, well, what happens? You get led wrong. So I think if we're selecting leaders that their only solution, their only option or solution to dealing with world issues is to start a war, then we need to elect new leaders. And that goes across the board. And I don't know what goes on in North Korea because I've never lived there. But you'll notice there's this very high opinion or fake opinion on the social media and on the news media about North Korea, when in fact the majority of people don't know anything about North Korea other than what they've seen the media portray. So like I said, I'm not defending North Korea, Kim Jong-un, whatever his name is, but you just can't make your decision on something based on what you see on the television. I really hope that you have a bigger brain than that, and you can actually go in and maybe talk to some people that have lived there. Because that's the thing, right? To people that are reporting, they're saying that it's a horrible place, so I'm not saying that it isn't. But that's what I'm saying, you need to actually talk to people that have actually been there, that have actually lived there for an extended period as well, because it's very easy to make assumptions when you spend a few minutes somewhere or with somebody, and you can just immediately make a judgment about them. I'm not sure where that comes from, but if it is human, that's the one instinct that you have to be aware of. Your gut instincts are normally correct, but just make sure that you're not basing it on, prior emotional situations which are going to persuade how you're judging this person, right? That's kind of, I think, why Hillary's people were trying to create the Russian issue, was to pull the attention off of herself and push it onto someone else. So anyways, like I said, I'm going to end it there. This went longer than it was supposed to. But yeah, check out Red Pill Black. She is just dead on with everything that she's talking about. And as well, this young man who calls his channel Descent Report. Very, very interesting person. And like I said, these are educated minds. These aren't people that are trying to just get some attention. These are honest people, and we need more of them. So anyways, thanks for watching, guys. Throw me a thumbs up if you like, subscribe to the channel, and we'll talk to you next time.